Welcome to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. I'm David Lovejoy.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhonda Lahnert.
And I'm Chuckalicious Chuck Williams.
For those living with mobility impairments, wheelchairs, walker canes are a necessity of everyday life. While technology advancements have completely transformed almost every sector over the last century, innovation in mobility aids has largely remained the same. We are joined this morning by Mr. Jeremiah Robinson and Patty Glatfelter to discuss this new sleeve that is helping people get their lives back, getting their mobility back. Sir, ma'am, welcome to the chat.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, first of all, could you just speak to us about this condition and how it affects you, and why would you need to seek treatment?
Well, I've had multiple sclerosis for 33 years, and prior to that, I've been a PT for 48 years. So when I developed MS, I knew that, the outlook was not great. And so I've always been very proactive about trying to find the latest treatments and the, newest medicines, newest innovations. Fortunately, I had a very forward-thinking neurologist who became aware of the Sionic sleeve early on in its release. And he got me lined up for an evaluation for using the sleeve last year. So I acquired it in May, and it has really changed not only my day-to-day function, but actually how I look at my future.
How does this Sionic sleeve work? I mean, I may be somewhat technical, but is there any simple definition how this thing actually works?
Yeah, the Sionic neural sleeve is an FDA-cleared Class 2 assistive device that uses functional electrical stimulation, and that's simply speaking, small electrical pulses that activate the muscles themselves in real time. So there's an array of electrodes that activates the quadriceps to help with knee extension, the hamstrings to help with knee flexion, the bottom shin to lift the foot during the swing phase, and then the calf muscle. And so by sequencing all of these muscles with electrical stimulation, we're able to get a more fluid, more stable gait cycle.
Miss Patty, I have to say, first off, hats off to you. You're an inspiration. A lot of people, when they're diagnosed with MS, a lot of people think it's a death sentence, and they go into a shell. You've been living with this for 33 years, and I commend you. I commend your bravery and your steadfastness in battling this. How did the sleeve change your life? Were you losing mobility, and this kind of turned it around for you?
Yes, I was, as I'm aging too, that was contributing to the increase in disability, but I was becoming weaker and weaker just because of having had the disease for this long. And I had, started limiting myself more and more about what my expectations were for the future and what I, would plan for the week. Once I got the sleeve and had this augmented ability for strengthening, I just immediately took off. I got the sleeve, and like 4 days later, I was in Alaska with my college girlfriends, and I was able to walk 3 times farther than I was prior to obtaining the sleeve. I was walking with the trekking poles maybe 10 minutes outdoors at a time before I got the sleeve, and now I do 45 minutes, sometimes even longer, with really no residual pain either. The thing that the sleeve has helped me with a lot is joint pain, because I'm walking more efficiently and I have more energy because I'm not constantly thinking, okay, Patty, pick up your foot. Okay, Patty, swing your leg. I just have a lot more energy to do other things with my brain than think about getting from point A to point B.
Jeremiah, let me ask you this. You almost took this on as Build a Better Mousetrap. Your daughter suffered from cerebral palsy, and there was really nothing like this on the market to help her out. Tell us the emphasis of how this developed in your mind and how it's now a product on a shelf.
Yeah, my daughter was born 3 months premature, 2 pounds 4 ounces, and she was delayed in breathing. And as is common with that premature birth, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which is a neurological condition that in some ways similar to MS impacts her gross motor skills, her ability to walk. And so for years we were searching for any solution that would help her to gain independence, right? To live independently. And there really wasn't much out there. So in 2018, I founded Psionic to bring together sort of the best of what was available in technology to address this problem. So artificial intelligence, sensing system, robotics, and integrated those all into the sleeve. And my daughter was our first patient. We started during COVID. And so we couldn't get into the labs, but she was testing the sleeve on a daily basis and helping us to really improve that. And we were able to see that as we went from 1 muscle to 2 muscles to 4 muscles, all of a sudden, what Patty says, she's no longer had to stop. She was no longer required to think about every step. And that just allowed her to accelerate her movement and her independence. And what we learned as we were starting to build this company was, oh my gosh, she's not alone. There are millions of people living with MS, living with stroke, living with cerebral palsy and other spinal cord injuries. And if we could build a system that could be worn every day and could scale across that continuum of abilities, then we could help a lot of lives.
Do you, so with Miss Patty and with your daughter, has there been anything else that you implemented? You know, the sleeve is life-changing, obviously. Is there anything else that would need to be done, maybe to, you know, improve conditions? Could be nutrition, even hydration, things like that. I'm a wellness coach, so I have to ask these questions.
No, I'm glad you did ask that question, because it is a comprehensive thing that I think anybody with any kind of disability needs to think about. You know, as a PT, I've always been a little prejudiced about how important exercise is, but I realized even as a physical therapist, when having MS and life becoming more of a struggle, I had to get busy and I had to exercise. I had to ask some PTs to take a look at my gait and say, okay, here's where you can improve. Oh, here's where I see your deficits. And then I had to take that advice and I had to utilize it. And I also had to really start, considering how important my diet was and how, what was the nutrition that I was putting in my body, how was that going to help me function better? And of course, keeping hydrated. Muscle cells, nerve cells, all cells work better if you're well hydrated. And I think I sometimes joke about sometimes having a disability is like having a part-time job, and you just have to kind of do your part-time job if you're going to be successful. And so, I've tried to keep that attitude and try and embrace my part-time job rather than just be annoyed by it.
Jeremiah, let me ask you this. Is this a doctor's recommended product? Do you have to have a prescription to get this? Is this available over the shelf? How can people find out more about the sleeve?
Yeah, so you can go onto our website, psionic.com, and take a short assessment that'll help you understand whether Psionic is a good solution for you. It is a prescription-only product, so either your primary doctor or your neurologist will provide a prescription, and then you can order it directly from our website. It can be delivered to your home, and we have a team of mobility specialists, PTs, and exercise physiologists who will set you up over a virtual session, almost like this Zoom call, and then be able to follow you over time. And that was really important to us. It's not just selling a device, but we are actually providing a service, and we continue to update the software and continue to customize the plan according to the person's needs so that they can get the most out of the device over time.
All you have to do is go to their website, Psionic, or consult your physician to see about how you can change your life today. Get your mobility back. Miss Patty, Mr. Jeremiah, thank you for your time today. Great job and continued success.